if you missed part one, this is going to be part two, but part one was the analog. So all the moving, touching, space, just the inside of the truck in general. This part is going to be the digital side of the inside of the truck. So your instrument cluster up front and your windshield, your heads-up display, and all of the features built into the Ford system. And it's pretty detailed and pretty in-depth. Just know that. I go into far more detail than most people care to know about, but it's just, this video, or the technology in this video is a large reason I was excited to get a new truck, because there's so much extra built into this truck that was not on the last one. So if you missed part one, go check it out. This is part two of the interior of the truck, of our multi-part Ford series. I've got a tour of the outside. Now this is a tour of the inside. I've got the gas versus diesel, weighing the truck, weight calculations for the truck. I do have a towing video, meaning hooking up the trailer and showing you all the towing features of that. And I have a driving feature video, so it's going to show us driving down the road and some of the features that the truck has while you're driving. So multi-part series. Stay tuned for all of them and go back and watch some if you missed some of those. All right, folks, thanks for joining. If you have a question about something in this video, please leave the comments down below. I do my best to get back to you. But if you really want to know something in depth, that's more than just a simple comment, respond, please reach out to us via the contact us link on our website, and you and I can start an email dialogue with each other. Thank you all for joining. Hope you have a wonderful day. Happy adventures, everybody. Bye. All right, everybody. So I'm going to hop in here and record the screens and all the stuff again. So I got my GoPro here. I got a GoPro on so you can kind of get a view of what it's like sitting in the chair here. I'll go over some of my favorite features, and then we'll go over some of those things while we're actually driving the vehicle soon. So stand by for that one too. So let's get it started up. Got some really cool features there. I hope you can see the stuff up in the dash. It looks pretty great. Coming up on the screen here, it initially shows up with the seatbelt warning. That's a rule. So if somebody were to be sitting in the passenger seat, it would also be red, and it will stay red until you click the seatbelt. And then it has the same thing for the rear three passengers. If there's weight sensed in one of those seats, it will show up as red until they are buckled in, then it shows green. So you can always see your passengers. This is some kind of new federal law about seat belts and things like that. So the first screen up there is driver's assistant. So this is my screen and my view of what I like to have up in here, so you can see my view, and I can set this up in any way. So my first one is driver assistance. You'll see that on the driving one. On both sides of it over there will be white lines or blue lines, or vehicle in front of me. So it just tells you where things are. And if you're in the lanes or not, and if you're drifting outside of the lanes, it turns red or orange, just things like that. And then I have the trips, fuel economy, tire pressure. I need to put some air in my tires, not much, but a little bit. General measurements, diesel measurements, and if I have a trailer, it's up there. And then you can configure your screens here. So that's my view. Then I can view just the trip and fuel stuff. I can fix my heads-up display, meaning adjust it or what's going to show up in it. The various gauges, which you just kind of saw. So there's a number of gauges here you can put in the center. And then the next one is off-road. You got your compass view, your wheel status, four-wheel drive, status, and then your pitch and roll. That's up there on the screen. If you're in tow mode, I can see my trailer information if I had it on there. So what trailer it is, how many miles is on it. I do my light check here. We'll go through that once we get the tire set up, and then tire pressure. On the trailer tire pressure, it shows your, not in this screen now, but it shows your PSI and tire temperature on that screen right there. So that's really neat and very handy. And then you can see your pitch and roll of the trailer. Status information is just going to tell you who's in the seat belt. And then your engine information here is really nice. So it shows I have 42% left on my oil. I have 203 engine hours, and I've idled for 31 hours. Wow, that's crazy. Navigation, you can go to, if you just want to go to your home, if you put your home address in there, you can do all this just from the screen here. You don't have to worry about anything over here. previous destinations. So anywhere I've typed in before, I have favorites and points of interest nearby. And you can see, you know, you can pick those. So those are really handy things. And this just right here on the screen. That means you can just do it with touching your wheel and not having to take your eyes off the road really to do something over on this side. I can turn my phone on if that's connected. Mine's not connected at the moment because I'm recording on it. Music, I can select which channel or what source it is. Vehicle information here, tire pressure, oil life, DEF, exhaust filter, and an engine air filter. And then you have your various settings for what's up here. Just can put it on general measurements. Now, down here is my tow mode or my drive mode. So I have normal drive mode, which is showing on the screen now. Everything's kind of blue looking. I go to tow mode and it shows a little trailer up there. And then if I were to be if I had my trailer hooked up, it would give me my trailer here. And you see the tachometer changes to the one up there. It also changes in the heads-up display to just mainly show the tachometer. If I go to eco mode, everything kind of turns green. And while in eco mode, it changes the engine and transmission profile so you get better gas mileage. If I go over here to slippery mode, it's like driving in off-road conditions, and it puts it into four-wheel drive. And then if I go to off-road conditions, automatically this screen turns on to the front camera. Everything turns kind of wilderness looking up there, and I get my compass and my RPMs and all those things like that. So I like the screen that it changes as you go through the different cycles. Now, one thing it doesn't do, it automatically defaults back to normal mode when you first crank up the truck, and it will ask you, do you want to go back to whatever previous mode you happen to be in. Up here on the screen, I've kind of gone through these controls a bit. Let's start here at audio. You have different sources, AM, FM, XM, and if you have a Bluetooth on, or if I had Apple CarPlay, it would show up here. Your radio controls here, I can pause and play. If that pause function and being able to fast forward works on your podcast and anything in Apple CarPlay. It works on satellite radio as well, but it does not work on live radio. You can, basically when you hit the pause, it just mutes it on live radio, but everything else, it will actually pause it for a while, and then when you play it again, you can fast forward through whatever you didn't want to listen to before. With your phone, you can add a phone. There's Blair's phone, there's my phone. You have favorite phones in here. Navigation is something I really, really like in this Ford system, and I will talk about this again on the towing mode, but you can set your map up that when you are towing a trailer and you're hooked to said trailer, the map knows the length, width, height of your trailer because you've put that data in, and it will navigate you based on all those dimensions. It won't take you under a low clearance bridge that you can't fit under. It won't take you down really tight turns that you can't make that turn easily. Weight restrictions, all the width restrictions, that kind of stuff. It does not take you down those type of roads. Supposedly, I've been using it for 8,000 miles now, and I've yet to run into a place where it took me down the wrong path. So far, I really like the Ford map features, and I love that it has the towing option built into the map screens here. And I've driven it from Texas up through Colorado, through the Dakotas, a little bit of Wyoming, Minnesota, Michigan, back down through Indiana, Missouri. So that's my kind of route around that we've taken all the maps trips with, and it's really, really handy here. So far, big fan of the map. You can use your voice. You can turn the voice on or off, and there's your trailer routing. So it allows you to put in, if I'm towing a trailer, you turn that on. And you can pick what you want to see on the map. So if I want to see, where the hospitals are, where the rest areas are, whatever you want. There's so many options in here of things you can pick. Used to, you had to go into a dealership and get a CD or get something downloaded to update this map. I believe now that the map comes over the air via the automatic updates on the phone. So that's a really handy thing. I just use a 3D map. It can show traffic on the map. You can avoid on your route if I don't want to go over toll roads or tunnels or any of those things like that. I can avoid those. I can see the weather, and I can see what the forecast is for the day. You can look at a radar map, which is also really handy. You can see the hurricane that just passed through, and more settings. I can just, there's so many different things in here that you can do. I can set up my preferences. This thing called breadcrumbs, and it basically just tracks where all you've been. It leaves little breadcrumbs so you can kind of see where you've been. Predictive destinations, what that means is it learns your driving patterns and predicts where you go next, which ours is kind of so erratic, so it's really it's not able to learn that much. Okay, navigation. I like the navigation system. I tend to use it quite often. Blair likes Apple Maps, and we use Google Maps for different studying of terrain features and things like that. So the onboard maps are getting much better and much more useful than they used to be. So I'm a fan of that. And so far, this has been a good system. Towing, again, we'll go over this whole thing about setting the trailer up and all the things that are involved in this feature once we're towing. But just real quickly, I love that it has maintenance reminders, so I can use chapter 8 of my Airstream manual, and I can say, all right, I need to rotate my tires at 10,000 miles. I need to check this, check this, check this, check this all the time. And you can break it down by months or by mileage, and you can put maintenance reminders in here. So every time you hook up your trailer, it's going to say, hey, this is due now or overdue now. Going through the light check is pretty cool. I like that feature too. And then you can add multiple trailers. If you have multiple trailers to pull, you can also adjust the mileage per trailer. So every time you hook it up, it starts counting the mileage on that trailer and not all trailers. So really handy feature there, and it has a really great connection checklist that you can go through that we'll go through when we hook it up. Okay, the apps that are available, I don't have any mobile apps on here, but if I've had apps on my phone that work with Ford, they can help show up here. But we typically use Apple CarPlay because we both have Apple devices. All right, the various settings. My radio settings here, here's a neat thing. Like I can have multiple pages of presets. So back here to my audio, this is one page, meaning I have these 5 stations listed in there. This is another page where those 5 stations are listed in there, and this is another page with those 5 listed in there. But I can go and I can change that to 3 pages to 6 pages if I wanted to. If you have Sirius XM radio channels and you have FM radio channels and you have AM radio channels that you all like to listen to, and you just want to easily scan from channel to channel to channel without having to search for it, you can have multiple presets. So I like that. Phone list, we talked about sync navigation, and we've already gone through that. That's kind of the settings. The sound quality and sound what you get. I like that you can turn it up and down based on your speed and sound in the car. So those, and again, the speaker system in here is really fantastic. Vehicle system, so I can set it to max idle at 30 minutes. Like if I crank it up and I forget what I'm doing, it's only going to run for 30 minutes. Key detection alert. I'm glad they were able to turn this off, but because I get in and out of the vehicle with the key in my pocket often, and it won't honk the horn at me. So I like that feature. Rear occupant alert. I have it turned off because Piper's the one back there and she always lets us know. Easy entry exit. I don't have this on, but basically what it does is when you shut the vehicle off and you go to open your door, your seat will lower and go back into position that enables you to get in and out much easier. And then when you get ready to go and shut the door, the seat comes back up into your set position. But basically the seat drops down lower and backs up so you can get in and out of here easier. And if you have mobility issues or things like that, that's a really handy feature. Whatever your alarms are, I have this thing ask on exit because with Piper's in here, I have to turn the sensors off inside because she'll set the alarm off. But I can set this up where they're never on. I just leave them on all the time, or you can turn them off if you'd like. Remote start, I can have my climate. So if I'm outside or I'm inside the house and it's cold out, or I'm inside and it's really hot out, I can crank the truck up and it will turn the air conditioner or the heater on depending on what I need, just to get the climate ready for when we get in the vehicle. Windows, I can remotely open them with the key fob here if I'm in the house, and there's a sequence of buttons here, and I can't remember what they are at the moment, but you can push the buttons and it will roll down your windows. Power tailgate, we talked about that on the outside view. I don't have it on power because I have the cap and I'm often towing a trailer, so I don't want to accidentally push a button and have it go up or down. Even though it has the safety features, I don't want it messing with my truck cap glass back there. Lighting, there's all kinds of fun things, but welcome lighting is when you walk up to the truck, your running board's lower and the lights outside light up. So that's fine. I just not anything I need. And then you have this zone lighting thing, and that enables you to turn on your headlights, your parking lights, the lights on both sides of the mirrors, and the tailgate, your outside mirrors. And I'll go over some of that again here in a moment. Ambient lighting, that's these lights up here and down in the floorboard and in the cup holders and all the things like that. And you can turn it off or you can turn it on, and you can lower and make it brighter. So it's really neat to see it in here at nighttime. And your remote lock. So if you're someone who is often by yourself and you hit the unlock button, you can make it only unlock the driver's door or unlock all doors. Mirrors, I've got it on auto fold, so when I hit the lock button, the mirrors auto fold in. There's also a button over here that you can hit to bring them in or out. And then you can update your door keypad code there. All right, so that's the vehicle. I can pick my clock. I can have it update automatically depending on the time zone I'm in. Personal profile. This is a really neat thing with this key. So my key is Brad's key. Personal profile. It knows where my seat is. It knows what setup on the radio I have. It knows what other things that I've done in this vehicle. If you have children, you can set up personal profiles with the key, and you can limit their speed, you can limit the volume on the radio, and you can have it do a number of other things. But it's a really, really neat thing, and it's all tied to that specific key. So if you have multiple people who drive a vehicle, you can have multiple keys and set up a profile on each key with certain limitations or unlimitations on all those things. So I really like that option. General here is just, you know, what language do you want, measurements do you want, and you can reset the software. I can change my display and go to the comm screen here, and it just shows me, hey, I don't need to know anything. I can just go to the comm screen. Brightness mode, dim and dark, and it depends on the lights outside. We talked about seats just a second ago. I'm going to show you these real quick. Again, they're heated and cooled, but they also have a massage setting, and there's 5 different modes of massaging that you can get. So it's really, really something I enjoy on a long drive. It does make a difference in the way you feel and sitting in the seat for a while. Even though these seats are very, very comfortable, this is a really, really excellent upgrade in my opinion. You also have a physical button on the side of the seat over here down below that you can turn on and off that allow you to do the same thing on the seat itself, so you don't have to go to the screen. Connectivity, this vehicle comes with a few months of AT&T cellular data that you can Wi-Fi into your vehicle with. It's on, I still have the service now, but it's not something I plan to keep because all of our devices have a Wi-Fi device, and our trailer has all the fun things on it too. That's back to your vehicle hotspot. I've got it turned off because, again, it's not something we need or use. Mobile apps, we talked about that already. Software update. This kind of goes back to the Ford app. You can turn this on and off with the Ford app, and there are no updates at this time, but if there are updates to the system or to the software of the truck or things like that, it'll come over there, come over the air, and enable you to update it. Ford Assistant, you can set up your own little wake up word like, okay, Ford, and it says, it's kind of like Siri and Alexa. That same kind of system exists in here, so you can have a name for your truck. So if you want to call it whatever you want to name your truck, you can just say, hey, name, and it will wake up. And there's all kinds of fun things in here that you can turn on and off, the voice commands and all the stuff like that. Again, we have our phones set up to our phones kind of do most of that stuff for us now, but you can do it in here too. You can do Amazon Alexa on the truck itself. That's not something I have turned on because I don't have Alexa in any other device. But if you have Alexa in your home, you can also have it in the Ford truck. So that's a handy thing too. 911 assist. If you are in an accident and your airbags deploy or something goes wrong and it's hooked to your phone, it will automatically call 911 for you. So I really like that feature. And then if you're going to turn your truck over to a valet, you can put it in valet mode. You set a pin up here, so that pin number has to be put in order for you to unlock it. So if you're going to hand your truck over to somebody else. And then let's go to the features real quick. So driver's assistance here. We saw these a minute ago. It's just adaptive cruise control, I'll talk about that on the drive. Speed limit assist, I'll talk about that on the drive. Pre-collision warning and steering. Like this thing, if you're about to wreck, it's going to steer you one way or the other, and it's going to pre-lock your brakes. And I mean, it's a really, really safety cool feature, and this truck will come to a complete stop by itself if you are about to run into something. It's really, really neat. Blind spots, trailer views, cross traffic. So if you're backing out of a parking spot and you can't see it in your mirrors, your blind spot monitors back there will start beeping at you if you have a vehicle coming down the aisle that you really can't see. And then there's so many other features on here. Like if you stop paying attention, you're drifting too much, it's going to yell at you. So say, hey, pull over and get some coffee. There's so many fun things in here that you can do from a driver's assistant standpoint that help you be safe on the road. Running boards, they're cool. I don't have them on approach, which you talked about before. If you want them all the time out, all the time in, auto going in and out, and you have a timer that you're going to put them on to delay their up and down, which I do. Pro Power on board. The truck has to be running for this to work. So right now it's just this one and the one back there in that center console. Now if I want the one in the bed to work, I can turn it on generator mode. I can turn that off. I also have a button over here to turn that on or off. And there's a button in the rear to turn that on or off. Zone lighting, we talked about this before, but this is your zone. So if I turn all the zone lighting on, every light outside comes on if I wanted to put them all on, or I can turn one zone off or not. So this is really handy if you're doing something at night or if you're off-roading and you need to see. You can turn on certain lights or turn off certain lights and things like that. So it's a nice option to have. Towing, again, we'll get to all this while we're hooking up. Onboard scales are pretty cool. I'll go over these when we load the truck up again. I got plenty of weight left. Plenty of weight left. And you can also use your tail lamp, so as you load down, it goes up. So each one of those blocks on the tail lamp there is equivalent to one block on here, so 1,000 pounds up to 4,000 pounds. And it goes on the tail lamp, so that's pretty neat. But what I really like is if you go to scale mode, you reset it to 0, you drop your hitch on there, and you can see what your hitch weight is just using the truck. Again, my airbags change that number somewhat because it doesn't allow the sensor to go all the way down like it should, but it's not that far off. And I'm going to demonstrate that with a scale that I have coming tomorrow. So scales, smart hitch, I'll go through this whole smart hitch process when we hook up the trailer again. And then one of my really neat, most favorite things ever is the onboard owner's manual. Now, like most of us, I like a paper copy of a thing, but it's something that clutters up my dash that I rarely open, but it's all in here. It's really neat, and it's all in here. And there are videos to everything. There's a video shows you how to do all the things that I've talked about, how to clean the truck, how to make it look good. There's so many options in here. And what I like about it is if there's something that I want to look up often, for example, capacities and specifications. So if I can't remember what type of oil to use or how much my tank capacity has, I can set a bookmark. And now when I go back to my home screen, I look at that up often. So where's my bookmarks? Bam, right there. So if you set up any bookmarks or something you really want to see often, they're all there, and I really think that's a neat feature as well. But I love the onboard owner's manual. Even though it's not a paper thing, it's all in here. And then this feature right here is really cool. If you have something you want to talk to Ford about,
record any likes, dislikes, or suggestions about the experiences with your vehicle, and then select send.
So if I wanted to record and tell them that I liked or disliked this thing or that thing, I could do that. So I'm going to record something right now, a problem that I found, and I'm going to send it to Ford. While towing in tow mode or tow haul mode, and I have a trailer hooked up, and I'm using navigation, the general measurements and diesel measurements do not show up on the main instrument cluster.
Thank you. Your feedback was sent.
So if you have issues, you can send it to Ford, and they know where it came from, so they can reach back out to you if you have it all your data set up. Okay, maybe you've seen this secondary screen over here. There's a number of options you can do with that. I can control my onboard power. I can off-road mode, and I'll go through the screen. So pitch and roll, fuel economy, trip, phone, navigation's over here if I need it to be, radio. I can see my bed camera, but again, my cap is on there, so it's not going to show up anything. So I'm just looking at nothing. Zone lighting, I can control that in here. And if I had the power on board, it shows what the draw is. But here's where this is handy. So I have my map here, and I'm listening to the radio. Now, if I want to put my map over here, I just touch the map, and now the map is here. And I had it expanded, but the map is here and the radio is over there. I can still control my radio stations with this buttons here. And if I want my radio back over here for a minute, I can just do radio. And now I can still see my map over there and my radio's here. So you can flip back and forth between the screens you're using at the time. I'm very impressed with all the features this truck has. Onboard or Pro Trailer Backup Assist. We'll talk about that when we hook the trailer up. But it has so many fun features and so many neat features. Largely, these are the reasons that I wanted to get a new truck, because of the safety features of driving, the navigation stuff, all the things. I'm just a fan of the technology, and I really think it's unique and very neat. Ever felt like somebody was watching you?